Hey guys, welcome back to Event Icons, where we are having our second to last interview of the day. And today we're talking about young leaders in the events industry, and we are joined by Aoife Delaney and Özden, who are absolutely amazing people who I am so excited to have on the show today, because we thought we'd be very meta to have millennials talking about millennials taking over the events industry. So let's dive into it.
For those
Just sound really important.
for those who don't know, our audience at home, just tell us a little bit about what you do in the events industry, so that they have an idea of who our young leaders are.
Okay, I'll start. Aoife Delaney. I'm the Director of Marketing Sales for the DMC Network, and I also sit on the Site International Board of Directors as VP of Finance and Business Development, which is one of the reasons why I know Ada so well.
Hi, I'm Meda, and I'm from Istanbul, Turkey. We manage a DMC there with my family, MEP Destination Business Solutions. I also sit on the International Board of Directors of Site. We were the co-chairs of the Young Leader Program at different times in our careers, and that's how we know each other. Yeah.
I love it. And so what gave you guys the awesome amount of hustle to succeed and do awesome things at a young age?
That's a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Well, I think being in this industry, you're kind of an outgoing personality probably anyway, and passionate. For me, one of the big drives, I guess, similar to Eda, I have family in this industry, and my dad, I suppose, was a big driver for me. He's in this industry. I saw how passionate he was about what he did, and it pushed me to want to be involved as much as I can. And I saw the more that he got involved in, the more he got out of the industry. So for me, that's why I just love doing what I do. It kind of gave me that initial spark.
It's very, very similar, and I just grew up in this industry with both parents in it, so it was always a lifestyle choice almost more than a career choice. So I can't take credit for being too smart about that, but so I just followed what I really liked, and I don't know. I mean, we complain about how much we travel all the time, and then we don't travel for 3 weeks, and we're freaking out that we haven't traveled. So you become addicted to the lifestyle, and it just becomes a part of what you do.
So, having a leadership role in the industry as a millennial, do you find that is a strength that people look towards you for a different perspective? Especially as leaders in the industry, because I think we all are leaders in the industry. People oftentimes will look at stereotypes. For example, I do work in social media, so I kind of fit the stereotype, but not, I talk to a lot of millennials who have no idea. Like, they're like, I check my Facebook every day, but I have no idea about social media strategy. So do you find that you kind of as the millennials, get pigeonholed into certain things, or do you find that they just value your different perspective?
I kind of feel, I almost feel like a millennial is kind of defined by a way of thinking more than an age, really. So I don't feel pigeonholed like that. I feel, I suppose being the age that I am, still relatively young in this industry, I feel a sense of responsibility, particularly in the positions that I have, either in my company or with Site, being a young mom. So that's something that I'm kind of becoming accustomed to. I have 2 young children, 3 and 1. And I'm back in. Thank you very much. And that's a big thing that I'm kind of learning how to be in this career, in this industry, with the different hours and the travel, etc., and be a great mom and still have a great career. And the one thing that I've kind of found coming in for me as a millennial is, so I suppose, a sense of responsibility that I do that in the right way for my family, and then for industry peers or people that are just starting in the industry that may look up to us from having been here for a couple of years now, and doing it in a way that will set the bar for them, so there's a right level of expectation to be able to stay in this industry. I think it's a really difficult one. So I think people burn out, I think, if you don't look after yourself, and I think that well-being side of things is hugely important. So that's something for me that I kind of focus on a lot.
Yeah.
For me, actually, it was, yes, I did feel sometimes that some certain expectations from you, but actually it was a welcome change for me, because I come from a more traditional society where there is a bit of ageism. So for me, actually, navigating this industry is much easier than navigating back home. So I felt a lot more valued in this industry than I would have been in many other things that I would have done in my life. So I felt blessed to have been given these opportunities. Like in Turkey, like you wouldn't be given such a young age, you know, get on these boards and stuff. So it's been for me an amazing experience, and it's really raised my profile back home to be respected much more. So it's really helped me. But I think the biggest challenge is the lifestyle that you have to get adjusted to. I was only 23 when I joined, and you know the lifestyle is just so, you know, cocktails and parties every night, and you can so easily get lost in that, and you know, and it just becomes, you know, all consuming almost physically. So it took me, like, I think you would agree that it took me about 5 years to really find my balance of that fun and the being young and also just being, you know, sticking to your routines and, you know, being healthy. So I think that fun life balance, you know, loving your work, but you know.
And people are definitely taking that on much more.
Yeah.
I noticed that, like, even if you look around the trade show at IMEX and you've got the meditation lounge that Hyatt did, which was incredible, acro yoga is everywhere. You've got the Be Well lounge, which is quite, it's filled up quite a lot. I've seen any over the last couple of weeks. It's always something I've been interested in, and I've seen it taken on much more. Again, not just by the traditional age bracket millennial, but by all attendees that are millennials by way of thinking. So I think that's great to see.
And I think the food is a bit better.
Yes.
Food, I mean, it used to be, I mean, bread.
We can take pictures of it a lot better, you know.
Yeah.
And actually,
Because
shout
everything's
out-
Instagrammable.
Shout out to Ireland, because I don't know if you got a chance to go on their stand yet, but they have the best food offering. And I know I'm Irish, so I'm going to be biased. But we've flown over an amazing chef and great food.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best food I've ever had this year on a trade show floor, and it was incredible to see. And it was all, his whole background was about well-being for that food, so that was great.
Yeah. One thing you said really stood out to me, and I think the idea of who millennials are is changing, because we are aging up. We are starting to no longer be the young professionals, which is kind of a scary thought, because for so long it has been this assumption that we're so young and we're so fresh in the industry. But you talk to people who are millennials, and they're moms, they're working moms, and they are leaders on boards, and they're on boards of directors, and you know, there's millennials who've been in the industry now for 15, almost 20 years. I'm like, at what point are we no longer the young professionals? And you look at the people who are in college now who are studying this, because there's so many new college programs in our industry, and what people don't realize is those students are no longer millennials. They're Gen Z. We're already at the next generation is entering the workforce. So I think it's going to be an interesting transition as you watch us move from this the young professional into a more seasoned professional, and I don't want to say more well-respected, but at the same time I do, right?
Yeah.
Because you talked about ageism and things like that, and I think people are going to start to realize that, no, we know what we're doing, we know what we're talking about, right?
I mean, I'd like to think that the millennials, however much we change and grow up and whatever, evolve, realize that there's, you know, at times there is a reason certain things have been done for the way they are. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense. So you come to that realization. But at the same time, I would like to think that the millennials will always remain as a more open-minded bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I feel like our generation will have a easier communication channel with Gen Z than we did in the past. I believe that, because I don't know, millennials just grew up questioning everything as a birthright almost, and you know, and I just think that
why are we doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's
why have you done it this way for 20 years and
Yeah.
never changed it?
Yeah. But I think the biggest moment came for me, like that I was a bit of evolving out of that was, shit, yeah, you know, there is a reason why things have been done this way for so long. And the moment I admitted that, I was, I'm old. But I think the questioning mentality will remain with us, which I think should make it easier for us to communicate with the younger ones.
Yeah.
I would think so.
And I think, especially with the next generation coming up behind us, we talk about what's important to us and that wellness and that balanced lifestyle. but you look at what they're focused on, and they're thinking activism, and they're being extremely proactive. You've got high schoolers walking out of high schools and protesting, especially in the United States and in Europe, across Europe. You're seeing these same
For climate
things.
change.
Yeah, for climate change, and they are passionate people, and this next generation is passionate because they're like, look at this world you're giving us. We're not gonna sit and do nothing, right? So I think you're gonna start to see a shift there as well, which I've already seen millennials shifting to that mindset as well. So I think that open mindset is important and something that is unique to the millennials.
And that passion is fantastic to see. And again, that's spilling it over to everybody, not just Gen Z, not just millennials. You see that again where we are right now at the IMEX trade show, and their big messages before coming to the show, things like, taking your own water bottle, and they're for the first year not giving out the bags when you come in.
Oh,
Those
finally.
changes, and they're huge. So that's spilling over into everybody's mantra and way of thinking, and even gifting and things like that. You've seen the show that they've been encouraging people on shows not to do the tchotchke, the traditional kind of. So they're all that great passion that's coming from the next generation is fantastic because everybody benefits. Yeah. So amazing to see.
Yeah, one of the world's, I don't want to say the name, but one of the world's top 5 financial institutions, a client of mine came, they don't do business cards anymore.
Wow.
I was so shocked. I mean, this is massive financial. I'll tell you who it is later.
Sidebar.
I mean, it was awesome to see that. We don't do business cards anymore. If you want to take a picture, here it is on my phone, and you can, barcode or whatever. But
that's my new line when I forget my business cards. I don't do business cards anymore.
That is now going to be my new line.
True, and I do that all the time. That's a good. And it makes you look cool.
Sorry, I'm sustainable. I don't do business cards.
Are you not?
Give an attitude.
Well, I think it would be an interesting question to ask is what do you guys think the future holds for the generation below us? Is there anything that I'll use the word fear? Or let's go with the positive. What are you excited for about the generation below us?
In this industry.
Yeah, this industry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wow, that's no, you first. Well, as you had mentioned, the passion is fantastic to see. So really excited to see. I actually have a younger sister who's also getting into this industry, who's a good few years younger than me. So it's interesting. So she would be Gen Z getting into our industry, and it's amazing to see her passion. So it's great, which I think has always been there. We're very passionate too, but it's lovely to see that this is still an exciting industry that offers so many opportunities. And there's a passion from people. So I'm really excited to see that that's continued. And definitely Data's point about the openness. That's just so important. And great to see that that's kind of being embraced. So I'm excited for that to continue.
And I think that every generation coming is better traveled, more worldly, more aware of global matters. I mean, everybody that we meet, younger people that we meet, have already been, in college. Even the Americans, who people, say they don't travel as much, they do travel a lot, the younger generations. So I think that makes life a lot easier for us because they're just more worldly people. And I think that will benefit especially sort of the second, third tier destinations. It will help them a lot with them attracting more travelers. So I think the rise in those second, third tier destinations is going to continue with these younger generations. And I think they're looking for more and more creative activities. They don't ever want to be in buses. That started with the millennials, but I think it's going even to more extremes. Like, we're selling incentives now where incentives come to run the Istanbul Marathon, which goes from one continent to the other. So it's cool. But cool. People come for that now for an incentive trip. That's cool. People didn't used to do that before. So I think that's going to continue with wilder and wilder experiences. So incentives are becoming even more fun to plan.
And what's that line? Money fills your pockets, but adventure fills your soul. Yeah. To that point of being more well. It's that. Which is fantastic for us. And you're actually dead right with second and third tier destinations and new experiences that people are much more open for and definitely not as interested in money.
And I think that's another thing about the next generation. And I think millennials started it, but that idea of Me and my best friend, we don't give each other gifts anymore for our birthdays. We share experiences because we want to have an experience that
That's
we
cool.
can remember, right? And so it's not about that gift that's going to sit on our shelf or something. It's about, oh, we went to a Broadway show together,
Yeah.
or we went on a trip together. So I think you're finding that with the Gen Z, the
Yeah.
next generation, that they're valuing experiences more than objects. And that's, with the getting rid of the tchotchkes and things like that, you see the challenge of, because it used to be, come to our booth and get this cool thing that we're giving away. Well, now it's come to our booth and get this cool experience at our booth.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'm experience.
Exactly.
I'm experienced. Well, that feels like a great wrap-up point, and I want to give a huge thank you to both of you for coming on and kind of sharing your perspectives and insights. And it'll be really exciting for us to meet again in the future and see how things have changed. Because as Alex said, that everything's changing as time goes on. It used to be we were the young ones, and now
Let's do this in 10 years and
I
see
know,
what.
so
How long can we be so young?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's terrible.
Well, thank you guys again for being
Thank
on the
you.
show,
Thanks
and
for thinking of us.
thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be right back with some more event icons.